adjourning the ordinary meeting, which started last Wednesday, and it was the 13th of October. And we're keeping going. We were to start at 8:30, but we had to have some briefings, and we did those first, so we're starting at 12:23. Thank you, councillors, for your attendance in the ordinary meeting, which is continuing. So we will deal with C.1 Request for extension on payment due dates. I would like to move that council advise the applicant that the due date, I might actually get some advice first. If council wishes to deal with the other matters and have that dealt with before we decide, what wording could we do to say that we haven't made our decision, so we will give them extra time to do that?
Do we need to lay that on the table to enable you to get appropriate advice?
Okay, I move that we lay this on the table to receive that advice.
Councillors, if you do need alternative motion, I'd certainly encourage you to provide the officers some notice so that they can think about what an appropriately worded motion should be.
Okay, all those in favour?
Hang on, before, when are we laying it on the table to? We'll need to get these clear.
Well,
Next meeting, or is it like?
what sort of time frame you'd need for that advice? Would it be next meeting or?
We'll leave it till later in the meeting now, and I'll see if I can get
Okay,
and then we can consider that.
righto. Okay, I move that we lay this on the table till later in the meeting. All those in favour? All those against?
Is there a second?
No seconder for a procedural motion, and it was 7-2, if I can call for a division. Okay, moving on to
45.
thank you. Item 15.2, crushing of concrete stockpile at Roma Waste Facility. Councillor McMullen.
Now I'll move, we just ask the minutes keeper. Is there anything,
You'll need a work order if you're going to.
no, we've got that here. Oh,
You got one?
no, I haven't got the work order, but I just want to see if the resolution was the same. No. I'll move that council approve the expenditure of $71,000 for the sorting and crushing of concrete currently stored at the Roma Waste Facility, with the end product being used on site for surface hardening.
But you'd need a work order.
Mr Mayor, I think I'll stand correcting, but I think it was decided that there was money within the waste budget to be used.
Did you want to put that in the motion so you know where the money's coming from?
They've got,
You need that.
they didn't put it on the thing.
There must be a work order.
I think they're using another word. Well, they didn't say. We didn't get that advice.
Well, I'll second that on the basis if the mover wishes to put in there, because you need to identify where it's coming from, even if it is from the operational budget or wherever. I think we need to have something in there.
Oh, they didn't say that on the
Doesn't
day.
that normally
No,
come from the officer's recommendation?
no.
Times.
Mr Mayor, the CEO probably could help there. I just thought Manager Kay said they had money there they were going to use, but didn't say where from. Kay, on,
Here at the moment.
no, but when, on the day when we discussed it, they were using some money out of somewhere within their budget to get it done whilst the plant was on site. Otherwise,
No.
Could you just pause the meeting for a moment?
Yeah, we'll just adjourn the meeting for a minute. We're just going to restart the meeting.
that's right.
We've just adjourned. And Councillor McMullen, would you read the motion again, please?
Wait for it. I'll move that council approve the expenditure of $71,000 for the sorting and crushing of concrete currently stored at the Roma waste facility, with the end product being used on site for surface hardening, noting that funding is available within the waste functions budget.
Okay, and I'd said, you had me, I seconded that, somewhere there. Yep. Okay, does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Does anyone wish to speak against the motion or for the motion? I'll certainly say the more we can recycle, the better. And if there's an opportunity to do more in this space, I think council should be supporting it. Okay, and if no one else wishes to speak, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Item C3, unallocated state land, lot 141 on SP 249951. Councillor O'Neill.
I move the council authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to write to the Department of Resources expressing an interest in the entirety of Lot 141 on SP 249951, which would include the current drain area for the purposes of reserve for local government purposes.
Okay, so we've got a second of Councillor Taylor. Does the mover have any interest in putting in there and also to talk to them about the issues on the site with the drainage and how to solve that as part of obviously looking at purchasing it?
I don't know if we need to get to that.
Well, there's some challenges there that, you know, if they keep it, they're going to have to deal with.
I think it'd be most appropriate to see whether there's interest in acquiring, and then if not, we deal with. I know the issues you're talking about, and they're important, but I think we can deal with that subsequent.
Righto. Okay, does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
I don't know.
Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Certainly believe that the more we can improve the safety and the beauty of our areas and the safety of children is very important. So I think it's very important if we could secure this and make it a safer place for kids to explore in our town of Roma. Okay, no one else wish to speak. We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C.4 Request to waive debt recovery fees. I'd like to move that council waive the debt recovery legal fees for assessment 140257761 to propose a payment arrangement, or we probably don't need to. Yeah. Okay, we have a second of Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? So this one, I actually moved to waive it.
Yeah, but Mr Mayor, the agenda item, resolution's not.
So just, she'll just get rid of does not.
Oh, okay, that's.
And you got to get rid of
and-
dot point two.
And get rid of the C and add a G for Golder. Just a Calder, which, you know, is understandable.
So
What's
just,
happened there?
just start with waive,
Didn't know where to buy a good gun.
council waive. Edwards.
And just, we'll get rid of does. So I'll just go that again. The council waived the debt recovery legal fees for assessment number 1402571. Is the seconder happy with that?
Yes.
Does anyone oppose the motion? Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Certainly believe, pay my respects to people that have suffered significant loss, and I do believe council needs to be as compassionate as we can be, and I believe supporting this motion will be as compassionate as we can be. Does anyone else wish to speak for or against? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 7-2 if I can call for a division.
And you'll need a statement of reason.
The statement of reason is
Without disclosing personal information, of course.
I believe this is in line with significant financial hardship. This decision is in line with significant financial hardship reduction. Okay. Okay, the next page.
79, won't it?
86.
86.
It's been done.
86.
86.
86.
Oh, we've done the street party too, haven't we?
C7, amendment to the 2021/2022 Capital Project Program Adungadoo Pathway. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 note that the current quotations for the replacement of the existing fitness equipment along the Adungadoo tongue-tied, pathway exceeds the current budget allocation of 90,000. 2, write to the local roads and community infrastructure funding program requesting to remove the current project for improvements along the Adungadoo pathway, that is fitness equipment replacement, and replace with the project to install new curb and channel along Foot Street, Roma, between Curry Street and Down Street. 3, be presented with a budget estimate for the replacement of the fitness equipment along the Adungadoo pathway as part of the 2022-23 budget deliberations. And 4, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign the project nomination form for the alternative project as outlined in item 2.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay. Sorry, what page number? 95. C8, Memorandum of Understanding, Department of Transport and Main Roads, Roadtek. I would like to move that Council note the current Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between Council and the Department of Transport and Main Roads, Roadtek, expires on the 31st of December 2024. 2, authorise an amendment to the Council's procurement policy that notes the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between Council and Department of Transport and Main Roads, in brackets Roadtek, and that any proposed engagements under the MOU greater than the following thresholds are to be referred to a meeting of Council for consideration and resolution. A, materials and services, $50,000. B, labour and plant, 0. Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? I'll speak to this. I certainly believe that we need to focus on being the most efficient with council resources, and I do believe that this will allow us to really focus on our efficiency. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak against or for the motion? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. C9, minor amendment to the organisational structure.
116.
Councillor O'Neill.
I move the council endorse the proposed amendment to the organisational structure as follows. Change position title of Lead Workplace Health and Safety Advisor to Lead Workplace Health and Safety Advisor / Roma Quality Safety Environment Support.
Officer,
Or what did I say?
advisor.
Oh,
second time.
officer. Roma Quality Safety Environment Support. Change position title Specialist Continual Improvement to Lead Quality Officer Bendemeer and Waroo Quality Safety Environment Support. Change position title of Workplace Health and Safety Advisor to Lead Environment Officer Baringa and Bungle Quality Safety Environment Support. Change position title of Specialist Internal Audit to Lead Internal Auditor.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 8-1 if I can call for a division.
Who was that, Mr Mayor?
Me.
Councillor Hancock. Item C10, Employee Code of Conduct. Do we have a mover? Councillor Guthrie.
I'd like to move that council repeal resolution number OM/09.2021/93 and replace it with the council note receipt of the second draft of the new / replacement employee code of conduct as presented at the special meeting on the 29th of September 2021 for release to the broader workforce for consultation and refinement, with the framework aligned with the work done at a state government level, adapted to a local government environment.
Well, Councillor Ladbrook was first. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? Anyone wish to speak against it?
I'm against this resolution because I think there is a concerted effort to limit the freedom of speech of staff, and I won't support any move to do that through an employee code of conduct.
Does anyone else wish to speak for the motion? Councillor Guthrie.
The proposed code of conduct is one that mirrors the state government legislation and the one that is currently used in all state government departments. I think that if it is applicable to the wider Queensland public service community, I feel that it would be then able to be mirrored in a local government sector.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak against the motion or for the motion? Okay, then we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 6-3 if I can call for a division. So I've got to get a bit more advice on LC2, so we might wait on that one. What else have we got to do? What was that? Mullen?
Did you say?
I just might leave LC2 for a bit longer. I'm just waiting on some advice. And
Who's getting the advice?
the CEO will give me some advice.
C2.
And what else have we got to do?
Only one in that one, right?
12.3.
Sorry, was 12.3, was it?
No, we've done 12.6. 12.6.
Have we actually?
We're not doing it.
Yeah, there was a resolution.
No vote
That's
taken.
13 point something.
Oh, sorry, no, yeah, no, it wasn't that one.
12.3 for the bore, was that it?
12.3.
I just wanted to
Michelle,
check
Can you
12.
just scroll up for us, please?
We've already had a motion on that. We've done that till the next meeting.
Where's the 12.3?
Yeah, down.
Yeah.
wording? Defer making decision, okay, and then that's gonna come back at the next meeting, because we're deferring the decision.
Because at the time, councillors, when we actually dealt with that, we didn't realise we were going to go over 6 o'clock and we would be
Yeah,
coming back here
yeah.
today. So at the time when we made that resolution, we thought we were going to finish on time that day, and the intention was to deal with it at the following meeting, and we we're going to have the briefing in between. But obviously, because the meeting had to resume again today, there was we took the opportunity to have the briefing.
Yep.
Because we had the other one as well on EDQ. So
But it'll come back at the next
it'll
meeting.
come back because now there's two parts of it. One's the location, two is how we're going to fund it.
Sure.
We're going to roll it all together
Okay,
based on
thank-
today's discussion.
Thank you. So 12.6. motion.
So what's our next one?
175.
175, 12.6.
Did someone have some extra advice on that? 12.6?
There was an email. On that one, you wanted to, we had the motion there, you laid on the table because you wanted the information circulated about previous applications. It was actually raised that actually had been circulated a couple of days before from the Office of the Mayor, and then you just asked for that to be printed out, and I printed it out for you at your bar, and you just want to have a look at that first.
That's what was laid on the table, yeah.
Right, has everyone had a chance to have a look at that now? Righto, so we'll do 12.6. Application for funding under Queensland Government's Queensland Remembers Community Grant Program. I would like to move that council, what did we have in our previous motions on
Mr
this
Mayor,
one?
No, that doesn't.
That was the previous one. Well, I'll probably actually ask a question first. Have we had any, I have spoke to the president just separately.
Sorry, can you scroll up a little bit? Yeah, just scroll up a little bit, because there's something else happened. No vote was taken, and then that would lay this on table and me until we receive information regards the last grant. And we've received that information.
You had received that before the meeting anyway.
And I moved it or Joe, it's there.
So,
Who moved it?
and then no,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we've got a live motion. So people have had now an opportunity to read the information.
Because the information was about putting in the,
the plinths.
yeah, not, they want the plinths, yeah.
What direction does that give from that motion? But does that go back to the last motion to get the direction, or? It says about the money.
We got the thing from the, was it last week, was it?
Oh, yeah. So this, sorry, I've just caught up. So basically, this is agreeing to go with the grant and giving council the flexibility to go and seek what the RSL wants, which we have received back, what they want.
When did we receive that?
It came from the Office of the Mayor.
Oh,
And then to go ahead with
Tuesday
submitting the application, and
got
so
it.
it's actually saying, it's actually giving approval to go ahead with the project.
So it goes, can we have a look at the other motion? Because that's what, this says about the money and approving it, but the other motion said what we were going to do.
The other motion from a few meetings ago.
Yeah, or the last meeting, I think, where we said, you know, a wall or stones or whatever.
So we,
That's the one, you just had it a minute ago, Michelle. So this one, but.
it wouldn't be in here.
No,
It wouldn't be, and these are the minutes of this meeting.
Righto. Can we pull up the last minutes?
It'll be in your
I think
agenda.
it would have been
Be
the
in here.
last.
It'll be in your agenda.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor,
Yeah.
you know the document I circulated yesterday? So Tanya, Manager Tanya had responded to the original resolution, which was coming back to a meeting on the 12th of November. The resolution was in that document, if anyone's got it.
The resolution was the council approved the delivery and purchase of required infrastructure for option one, including 2 flagpoles, solar powered lighting, upgrading of the Roma Cenotaph garden beds and a left-hand accessible disabled car park space in Bungle Street, Roma Cenotaph, to undertake works for the Roma RSL branch, including the additional disabled car park space, access ramp, signage, bollard, and line marking under a private works arrangement. And then there was the subsequent resolution that a report be presented at upcoming ordinary meeting of council with the costings of purchasing and installing permanent speakers at the Roma Cenotaph.
No, yeah, that's one, but then there was a different one where we moved a wall, a low wall, or something similar.
That's right.
Yeah, so do you want me to read that resolution?
Yes,
Thank
please.
you.
A report be prepared for an upcoming meeting to add to the Roma Cenotaph a low wall or walls or other suggestion which enables the acknowledgement of service personnel for other conflicts and service after the Second World War in consultation with the Roma RSL sub-branch. And number 2 was any additional eligible projects to be further investigated as part of this report or future reports. So is that the one that you were?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that
So
actually
this
hasn't got
would
anything to
inform-
do with this proposed grant funding that they want.
No, but the one I read out does.
That's
doesn't it?
right, yeah. Yeah, so it's confusing. It's
This
two
one.
different,
We probably have confused that. So this report is sort of looking for what projects we'll put up under Queensland Remembers program, which closes on Monday. So in the report, there was potential about memorial stones like plinths
Yeah,
and the speakers. So we were sort of suggesting put both projects, do it as one project, but do the plinths and the speakers. So the costings came back. The speakers were about, the one recommended by our IT was $32,000, and the plinths $42,000.
Well, as far as I was told, I thought we could only go to 50,000 with the grant.
So 50,000 in funding, but we have 20,000 in a work order from last year that we didn't use. So we're thinking we've got about 70,000, like up to 70,000. But the report from Manager Tanya yesterday was because it's a heritage listed area, there could be complications with doing additional works. So, and Georgie and I were just looking on the application, the site, and you've got to apply for a general exemption certificate with the department to do any works there, so if any minor works. So we're not sure whether the plinths are considered minor or yeah, potentially the speakers are a minor project, but we still have to apply for that exemption to do works on the site.
So through the chair, Cindy, point 2 of this resolution is submit applications for funding for the recommended projects as proposed. Is that as proposed from the resolution that I just read out from the previous meeting? Or is it the projects that are on page 176, which includes the construction of the wall that the mayor's talking about,
or other ways.
or
not
other
just wall.
ways with no costings, so that's to be considered, and or the sound system to a total estimated cost of 25,000. Is that what point 2's referring to? Is those projects?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Contained in the report.
yeah. So we did get updated costings on the speakers and the like the memorial stones. We've used what the RSL, the quotes, what RSL obtained last year.
And sorry, what was the estimated cost for the stones for the wall?
So 6 memorial stones, so $42,000.
42, and the sound system is now at 32, is it?
32, yeah.
There's 20 contribution from council.
74 minus 20 is 54.
Yeah, so we were a little short with the funding once we got those costings back. So those speakers exclude the hearing loop, I think that was described. Yeah, I think that was about $11,000 for the additional, but yeah. So if we went with the $46,000 and the 32, yeah, we need to find a little extra money.
So, yeah, and because we have a cenotaph that doesn't recognise a lot of basically nearly most of the living veterans. Doesn't have any of them on there. I think we've got a good case to get some funding
Yeah,
for the stones because there's no recognition past World War II.
yeah. So, sorry, the suggestion if it gets up to date, to nominate this project with both items, we'd put in a little pending,
Pending approval from the Department of,
whatever,
to get
veterans-
heritage listed.
heritage listed.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because I'm sure we're gonna have to get that before they'll consider it, so, we can certainly submit the application, putting a little clause in there.
And I think other cenotaphs would be in the same boat as well.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so-
definitely, yeah.
So, yeah, councillor Hancock?
So with that in mind, just looking at the live motion, we probably don't need number one as such because we've already ascertained that. We've got the feedback from RSL.
Yep,
So, and so basically, would we just then be going, to submit an application for funding for the recommended projects as proposed in the report?
yep,
Pending heritage listed.
Yeah, pending.
Yeah?
Yep.
Pending heritage listing.
yep. So take out,
So
one. Yep.
I guess I'm amending, it's a live motion, councillor Neal, so I'd be amending,
You're removing number one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just on number 3, given what you said about the dollar value, that work order 22366, can you increase, is there capacity to increase it that $4,000 now? So that's included in the resolution that,
For the extra 4,000 where it's to come from, giving,
So the audio here is 33,015.
sorry.
Audio here, 33,015.
Oh, so we might have to find,
An extra 1,000 as well.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so we'll have to come up with maybe an extra, what was that?
That's what I thought, it was a
5.
bit more than, yeah.
So we won't need to do that, I guess, until, if we know we're successful or not.
okay.
I know it's another, I know you're trying to kill two birds with
Yeah,
one
yeah.
stone, but you
It's
might
just
not
I'll
have that
probably-
answer
yeah,
yet.
They would have to find the 5,000 where we're gonna get it from.
But is that not what we've done in the past? We've always had to find the money before we even apply for something,
Yeah, I thought you had, I might be wrong, but I thought you had to have it covered,
as far as.
Budgeted for.
Yeah,
budgeted for as well.
Yeah, I'm happy for that, I just,
yeah,
we might have to lay it on the table till we can find out where to get it from.
$5,000 from,
Cindy, those figures there too, like those stones that came from Steve, and they're too, they're estimates though too, so
Yeah.
they're not a firm quote, so
yeah,
if you worry about that, in terms of just, you know, it could
be
actually
able
even
to
be less than that,
some off.
as far as we know, but that's
Make
just,
them smaller stones.
yeah, a rough estimate their staff have put
Just
together.
take one.
So do we need it to move the motion or not?
I would, but just for the actual amount that you've
The
got.
advice
I'd move the
that I
motion
gave
for the amendment.
Mr Mayor for the other matter might solve this matter as well, so perhaps lay it on the table and consider the two together.
Righto.
I mean, there's $4,000 difference there, you know, we've got a set amount. I think we know it's gonna cost that, it may cost a little more, we're not sure, but if you're gonna do your motion, then I'd do your motion in line with the extra revenue, so if it's 50, is it 50? 70 we're applying for with 20 council contribution, and that's your budget, you're aiming for, like all things, if it's not gonna be that, then we do another 4 for those.
With-
You can't say you're gonna say it's gonna be 72 when you know you only got funding for 70, but, you know, we aim for 70.
Yeah,
So those
We've got
figures
to
work.
because
supply
these
the
are
quotes.
estimates, as you say, anyway.
We've got to supply the quotes as part of
Yeah,
our
yeah.
application, so they're gonna see what the value adds up to. If we put 70 in our application, knowing we've got quotes for 74,000 or something, might look a bit odd.
Okay, well, I'll just adjourn the meeting. We'll get that information back and we'll be back at 2 o'clock. I'll start the meeting again at 3:03 PM. We have a mover and a seconder on a motion. We've just received some more information. Is the mover and seconder happy with what is on the screen, if we can pull it up when we can?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, happy to, I'll read that out if you like.
Yep,
Then-
please go ahead.
I move that Council 1 submit applications for funding for the recommended projects as proposed to an estimated project value of $75,015, noting the need to seek the relevant heritage listing approvals. 2, include a co-contribution amount of at least 10% to a maximum of $25,015 of the total project cost to be funded from work order 22366 and available surplus if required, and further this be reflected in the Q1 budget review currently scheduled for consideration at the ordinary meeting on 27th of October 2021. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign the funding application. 4, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign the funding agreements as required if the project is successful.
I'm happy with that as seconder.
Righto, second is happy. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion?
Mr Mayor, I just think it's a fantastic project, and I'm always in favour of anytime we can get funding from outside our region to help with projects that are inside our region for the benefit of the community. So I think it's a great project for Roma.
Does anybody want to speak against the motion or for the motion? I certainly will. I think there is a big hole that we, in our Cenotaph, do not have any recognition of people that have served in any conflict past World War II, as far as I understand. So to update our Cenotaph, when we have massive crowds coming to the Anzac Day services, we really need to do this. So I believe that, thank the state government, the Queensland remembers, and I believe that there is a branch of the funding that should really, hopefully we can put our best foot forward and say this is really dire and we need to do it. And if we can partner with the state government, that would be excellent. Okay, Councillor Burkett, would you like to speak?
Mr Mayor, I also agree it's a wonderful project. I just hope in the future, in conjunction with RSL, we can look at every other town in the Shire and do the same there, because I think it's to reward the guys that made the ultimate sacrifice. Would be a wonderful thing.
So, yeah, just on that, I think that there is like one stream of funding is council, but others can be the other groups. So I think we moved in the last motion to ask for the other things, so for the other areas in the Maranoa. So I think we need to keep going with that and either hit a stream, which RSL did actually go for, which is something that couldn't be done by council. So we're using one stream, but the others might be available. So I think the more as councillors we can encourage any of our areas in the Maranoa bring something forward, we should put it on the front foot as well. So if we all can do that, that would be good. Councillor O'Neill?
Thanks, Chair. I didn't want to let the moment pass without highlighting one of the projects that forms part of this resolution is about improving the sound quality at the Cenotaph. I know I've had a lot of community members raise with me and the need to have adequate speakers and sound systems at the ceremonies that are held at the Cenotaph, and I think this will be a really important step forward by having a permanent speaker and sound system for the RSL. So I wholeheartedly support the recommendation.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up?
No, thanks.
We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay.
The only other one in the open here that I've got is 13.6. Did we lay that on the table? Okay.
225.
Oh, that's right. Tanya.
Septic.
Okay, 13.6, Yuleba Hall Septic.
Different resolution, have we?
Yes. Last week.
I've got it here if you want.
Well, I moved the resolution, so.
Oh, yeah, do you want,
Yeah.
do you want me to read it? Oh, is that it?
No.
We got it in an email,
So-
haven't we?
I'll tell you, Councillor McMullen, if you like, it's that Council 1, proceed with the proposed upgrades to the Yoba Hall plumbing, and 2, fund works from savings achieved on the Overstone Road gravel reseat project, work order 22322. Oh, sorry, Michelle. So 2 would be,
I'll send it to you, Michelle, I've got it here.
I'll have you, Robbie.
I do remember seeing it somewhere now, but it was.
It was from Tanya.
Yeah, someone must have commented to throw it.
I changed that.
You should have there, Michelle, coming through.
Can change that.
Can you?
Yeah, I have. It's annoys me.
Okay.
No,
We'll just get rid of it.
No, it
I'll just
still
email
needs
you.
to stay as no vote taken at the time, because there was a subsequent.
Yeah,
So it's another item, please, Michelle. Yeah, that's fine, you're okay to fix it up after the meeting, but it's just not to override the other one.
I just emailed you the resolution.
Righto.
You're
So,
right. I'll move that
yeah. so-
council,
so
one,
is the mover and the second are happy to change the
Yeah.
motion. So the mover is, obviously you're
Yeah.
moving it. So please go ahead and read it.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that council 1 proceed with the proposed upgrades to the Yoba Hall plumbing, 2, fund works from savings achieved on the Overstone Road gravel sheet project work order 22322. Was there something else you had up there, Michelle? That's it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so second are happy with that? Righto. Any opposition?
Question.
Please go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr Mayor. And I don't know who to ask, but is that the only bucket of money we could have taken it from? I guess it's, for me, we're taking it off roads.
No, there was actually a saving to the job was done and savings were made.
Yeah.
On the project.
So yeah, I understand that, but when we normally make savings on roads, do we invest that back somewhere else in the road network, somewhere in the Shire, rather than taking it out of our roads, where, obviously we need money for maintenance, and I understand that the maintenance budget.
At the end of the day, it is just a bucket of money. The issue that we ran into last week was that council was resolving in the first part of the motion to do the work without knowing where money was coming from. So I said I was a bit concerned about putting it to the quarterly review, like making the decision to do the work and then deferring the consideration to the quarterly review when we didn't know what the result of that would be. So the officers went back and found something where there was a saving, so that they could actually proceed with the works now rather than waiting for that process. So it's up to council. I mean, Manager Tanya is another week going to worry that project. Like, how urgent is it?
It could probably wait.
So, like, it's up to council whether you want it taken out of the bucket as such, the general bucket, or whether the work starts tomorrow.
This,
And how practical is it for the work to start tomorrow, or in reality, will it take until next week to get going anyway?
We are going to, the pricing that we have is on one quote. Because of the value, we are going to have to get a couple of extra quotes for the work to happen. So we're just waiting for council's go ahead before we got those extra quotes.
So is it enough for you to say, sorry, Councillor McMahon?
No, you're right.
I'm
You're
just
right.
playing
You're
with
right.
your
No,
motion
I'm
for a
not-
minute. It might be that council proceed with additional quotes for the Yoba plumbing works, and the results be brought back to the Q1 budget review next week.
Councillor McMillan.
I just got a question for the CEO, Mr Mayor. That money, whatever the saving, that's not in roads now though, is it? it's gone back into the main bucket.
For all intents and purposes, it's in the bucket.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we
there
got-
might be other ups and downs.
Yeah, that's
but-
right, we
But
had,
if the intention is, that the team is just needing to know whether you're supportive of the
Yeah.
project to allow the quotes to progress, then that motion, that council give in principle support for the Yoba Hall plumbing project and proceed with getting additional quotes for consideration as part of the Q1 budget review.
because I can remember in the last term, there was a similar situation, I shouldn't say an issue, and the few dollars that was left on a project wasn't enough. I'm not saying I don't know what's left in this bucket from the Overson Road, wasn't enough to do anything substantial
yeah.
to the road, so that, or in that, I don't know whether it was a road then, but yeah.
So we do have a motion already from, do you want to test the motion or do you want to change the motion?
Well, I guess test it as it is, I suppose, yeah, we've moved it, so.
Righto. Is the seconder happy with that motion?
I just have a follow-on question, Mr.
Please,
Mayor.
go ahead.
Sorry. And I agree with the project,
Okay.
but I just need to understand how the internal workings of council works with this money. Was the money for Overstone Road ratepayer money, or was it a project money that we got in? The reason I'm asking that is because we say that 100% of rural rates go to rural roads, and now I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that we're taking road money and putting it on a project that I wholeheartedly agree with, but I can't go to the community and say that 100% of rural rates go on rural roads if that's not what I'm doing in this council
Yeah, and-
chambers.
And I hear that, and if Councillor McMullen was willing, you could achieve exactly the same outcome by saying council give in principle support for the Yoba Hall plumbing project and proceed with obtaining quotes for inclusion in the Q1 budget review.
So
And then you don't have any issues with robbing Peter to pay Paul scenario.
the only thing is, things are going up all the time.
But we're only talking 7 days, Mr.
No,
Mayor.
I know, but some of those quotes, we've just heard some of the,
We haven't got the
We haven't
quote.
got them.
Still got to
No,
get the
but
quotes.
I know what you'll mean.
Got the quotes.
It's November, so we'll sneak in just under that increase.
it's really up to the mayor, to the deputy mayor, do you want to test the motion or change it?
Proceed with the.
Change it, Jeff. You're going to get the same outcome, so I'd just change it.
Well, what's the, what did,
Can we just put the alternative motion up?
The argument's compelling, though. I hadn't thought about that. But we do all proudly say that we
We
put
do.
100%
yeah, I understand, yeah.
rural rates into rural roads.
But also, that could be changed in the quarterly
I mean,
review to put the money
if
back
they had-
in, so it's not a,
That
not an
council
issue.
one provide in principle support. Support for the Yoba Hall plumbing project. To proceed to secure quotes to enable consideration as part of the Q1 budget review. Excuse me, Manager Tanya, is it realistic that we will have those quotes in 7 days?
Mr Mayor,
But it'll
no,
have to be
there
sort of-
won't be. What we have though is to have one quote, so we know what the absolute maximum that we'll be looking to pay is. But I would think the contractors are unlikely to have the additional quotes
That's
to
what I'm
us
thinking,
by
because
next
to
week.
actually have it included in 7 days, you would need it in probably 2 to give Cindy time to.
We've got one price there to
process
go off,
it.
but
Yeah,
we've
so,
got one
yeah.
there for budgeting purposes. We know if the other two come in dairy, you've still got one.
So, maybe
Can we
that
achieve
council
that?
include, so, point 2, sorry, Michelle. Include the project as part of the Q1 budget review. And then the obtaining of quotes is just an administrative process. It's not going to hold anything up. Currently scheduled for the ordinary meeting on the 27th of ordinary meeting on 27th of October. (2021), yeah. So that's A or B, councillor McMullen.
Yeah, it was a pity they put Overston Road in there because that money would.
Okay, councillor McMullen, what do you want to move?
Okay, well, I will change it. We'll go to Council 1, provide in-principle support for the Yuleba Hall plumbing project. 2, include the project as part of the Q1 budget review currently scheduled for the ordinary meeting on the 27th of October 2021.
Is the seconder happy with that?
I am, thank you.
Righto. Any opposition? Does the mover wish to speak to it?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Righto, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 8-1 if I can call for a division. Okay, moving on. Do we have anything else before we go into close? Okay, does someone want to move to go into close?
Did we do 16.5? Page 270.
Laid on the table to get legal advice.
Okay, so does anyone want to move into close? Otherwise, we're going to deal with these other issues.
Mr Mayor, I just want to foreshadow when we come out of closed, if that's where we're headed. Whilst council has already considered C6, I just want to ask a couple of clarifying points of the council in relation to that resolution, and 3 of you will have a conflict.
Righto, thank you. So we'll do that after we deal with the other items. That's all right. Righto. Does anyone wish to go into closed?
What agenda items are we going to close for? I'm happy to move it if I know what agenda items.
Well, we have C1.
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 And anything else?
C3.
Land one.
We don't need to talk about land
C4.
close.
Oh, didn't we do that meeting?
No, we done 4, didn't we?
4's done.
It's C1 and C3 one.
C1 and LC2.
Well, that's a different one. Oh, that's a
We
different
did C3.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
sorry.
it's just,
I just
Alright.
saw the state land.
Mr Mayor, I move that in accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, a local government may resolve to close a meeting to the public to discuss confidential items that its councillors or members consider it necessary to close the meeting. The items which we will discuss in closed and the reasons why were tabled in a table earlier in the meeting last week, but it is for C1, request for extension on payment due dates, and LC2, state government surplus properties, Maranoa region.
And councillor
Episode 6.
O'Neill's clarifying point.
I don't think you can now because I just need clarity on the resolution, not clarity on We've already moved the
Oh, okay.
resolution, yeah.
There's nothing further you wanted to discuss and closed about it?
Can we? Or not?
Because we do need, as part of resolving, to go into close, why we're going into close, so we could just add clarifying questions on.
And C6, to just clarify a couple of questions for C6, which is the Christmas Street Party 2021.
Or else we're gonna have to come out and then
Yeah,
go
yeah,
back in.
yeah, that's fair.
Happy to add C4. We've already dealt with C4.
Yeah, C4's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Righto, and councillors have already declared a conflict, so it was already in the minutes of the meeting, so.
On C6 you're talking
On
about, yeah,
C6,
yeah.
Okay, so we have a mover. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? No one wishes to speak. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Item number C6, Christmas Street Party, additional clarification, Lou. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to move that council confirm its intent to include all interested businesses across the region in the Shop Local campaign.
I have a seconder, please. Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Anyone wish to speak for or against? I'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 6-0.
I'll give them other 3.
So we're out, we're open now, we're finished, so we're right to go.
Oh, yes, yeah. So, sorry, I'm just coming from I rang on, so
Sharon, did you get that? You took the sticker off?
Michelle, not 9-0, my dear.
We're up to C1.
Oh, that was the first one.
LC1 or C1?
C1.
Page 3.
C1, request for extension on payment due dates. I would like to move that council resolves pursuant to section 121C and 121B of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to agree to grant a concession by way of deferment of the payment of rates and charges levied on assessment 130130024, 130130032, 120111002, 130130099, 130130008, 120130090, 130141996, 130146162, 1450798, and 1501487 for a period of 30 days from the due date of the last rates notice issued on the 21st of September 2021 for each of these properties. We have a seconder, Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? Councillor Hancock?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, I think council, majority of council made a decision when they set the rates, and I don't think that it's good practice to pick and choose, and so therefore I can't support this, because I think that once the majority of council made their decision, they should stand by their decision and what that means for the ratepayer.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak for the motion? I'll certainly believe that there is circumstances to be able to shift this due date 30 days. No one else wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 6-3 if I can call for a division.
And you'll have to have a statement of reason.
Statement of reasons would be financial hardship. Okay, now moving on to LC. LC2, State Government Surface Properties, Maranoa Region. I'd like to move that council, that's the right one up there, is it? See it? Oh, we've got yellow, I think. The council provide in principle support for progressing the item for acquisition of the land to the Q1 budget review scheduled for the council meeting on the 27th of October 2021. Subject to including in the proposed contract a clause for the removal of the PDA.
Sorry, Michelle, can you just, the mayor's added some additional words there, subject to.
Yeah, subject to the contract, including a clause for the removal of the PDA. So it just means that if there's a contract, it's just a clause to say, yes, it would be done before settlement. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. Would you like to speak? Please go ahead.
I think there are others that indicated they wanted to speak as
No,
well.
I haven't seen any hands go up, but you're quite welcome.
Councillor Ladbrook did.
No,
I just think it's important. I think this land's a pretty good price, and there's a shortage of housing in the Maranoa and especially Roma, well, everywhere. And I think it's a good buy. And if we can get some housing going, it's a good thing.
do we have anyone want to speak on the motion, against or for? Councillor Hancock.
Mr Mayor, I just, if we had an endless bucket of money, I'd love to support this, but I just don't feel that we can with the commitments that we already have as council, and with the information that we've been provided. I guess for me, there is many commitments that I've had to stack up against this decision of where to spend the money, not just in Roma, but around the region. And so for me, I just can't support spending the money in this area when I just think that there is some other commitments that we need to spend the money on at this time.
And do we have anyone that wants to speak for the motion? Councillor Burkett.
I take on board what Councillor Hancock says, but I think there's a lot more moving parts that we can't divulge at the moment, and I think there is some positives, although it might be a bit of a hard road to start with, or it might go smoothly. I just think it is a good deal, but I think there's, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts to moving forward before we can say how bad or how good it's going to be.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor Taylor.
I just don't think we can afford it. I get all the things you'd like to do with it, but I don't think that really guarantees that someone's going to come along and build houses for rent. I just think we don't have the money. That's just short of it. I don't believe we've got the money. And even though I wish we did have the money, as Councillor Hancock says, we have other projects that we could put money into, and if we did have a bucket, well, that'd be great, but we don't.
Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? I certainly will. I believe that the community of the Maranoa want us to act. I totally disagree we don't have the money. I've been in this chamber for a period of time and watched council find the money on many, many different things. So to me, it's an attitude issue, and I do believe that purchasing that is a good buy, that can solve a problem. We have people that cannot come to the Maranoa because of housing in our different towns. This is one step. And I think if you take the business approach and actually have a business mind, you would look at this as a great opportunity to leverage benefit for the community. And when you run on average $80 to $100 million budget, you always have the ability to be able to do things. And I really believe it's the business approach that will get this done. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Councillor O'Neill.
There's not one councillor in the chamber that I'm sure hasn't been approached by a business or resident in the community that has expressed their frustration in not being able to find accommodation for staff, for family. There's examples of where people have accepted roles based in Roma and then have not been able to find a rental accommodation, and therefore those positions have fallen through. That has a flow-on impact in our community. What's being proposed here, that's not going to fix it overnight. In fact, there are other ways that we could be spending the money that would ultimately be allocated to this if it is supported today, to bring in short-term accommodation to address the immediate problem. But this is a bigger issue for me. I've grappled with this proposal because I was a councillor when we bought the police paddock from the state government. And we bought that for circumstances like we're currently facing. Council is, our community is zoned to go west. The police paddock is in a prime location to be able to accommodate the growth of Roma. And because we already own that asset, I think we should be, whatever surplus money we're able to identify within an incredibly tight budget, to suggest that we've just got the capacity to do whatever is not correct. It is an incredibly tight budget because of the 15% reduction that's been invoked as part of this annual budget. But any surplus money we're able to identify, we should be looking at a proposal to subdivide the police paddock. There is ample land there to do both large acreage but also residential holdings. That was the intent of and the vision of that particular council back in 2012. We still own that, and I think that's where we should be concentrating our efforts to address the medium to long-term issues around housing. In terms of the short term, as I say, we do have an ability, if we are able to find surplus money, to bring in demandable accommodation as rentals to help get through what is a very, very tight housing market at the moment if you are in the rental market. And so on that basis, I just simply cannot support this moving forward. And I think there will be, rightfully so, significant criticism from the community because they know that council owns the police paddock. They know we haven't done anything to date. And it's time for us to act on an asset that we've already put significant ratepayers' money into.
Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? I think, have you already spoken?
Yeah.
No, that must be.
Yes,
No,
yes.
he's.
Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Well, I'll sum up. I certainly believe that we need to be agile, and whilst that we do have a police paddock, I think it comes with some conditions. That's a long-term asset for the future growth of the region, and it will take a major investment. So, Councillor O'Neill, if you do have other suggestions for short-term accommodation, by all means, please bring them up in the future. I'd be interested to hear them. But in regards to this is something that's happening. It's much further down the track. It could interest someone to able to go and bring this to the market and the Maranoa businesses, residents that want to move here are looking for opportunities, and I believe as a go-ahead council, we need to get in and roll our sleeves up and get it done, and where there's a will, there's a way. Okay.
Mr Mayor, I'm sorry, you can't throw it in a closing remark to suggest that I haven't raised suggestions in this chamber over the last fortnight when we've had discussions around this particular parcel of land of things that have been discussed. I can't go into those because they were discussed and closed, but I have raised suggestions of land that council currently owns where we could do short-term accommodation. So I want that on the record, that what you just said is factually incorrect.
Well, I'll put on the record, Councillor O'Neill, that what I'm asking for is detailed solutions, and I never once said that you haven't done it. I said I'm interested in detailed solutions, and I want on the record that those detailed solutions I would be happy to progress with my fellow councillors in the future, because those detailed opportunities are something that we could be doing as well. So I'll look forward to seeing those in detailed form.
With a detailed plan for what's being proposed here as well from yourself?
Basically, one of the things is, if you're talking about opportunities for temporary accommodation or accommodation that can quickly be brought, which is different to the police paddock or this other one, I would be interested in your versions on how we're going to do that. And I mean details, so we can say, oh, we could get this and we could do it here and we could do it with that. And I definitely do not believe I ever said that you haven't done that, but I'm interested in exploring it further if you've got something detailed that can make it happen. Okay, on that note, we will go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? So we'll just do that again. All those in favour? All those against? 6-3 if I can call for a division. Is there any further business, councillors?
Yes, I would like to ask a question.
Please go ahead.
Further to my asking the question at Yuleba, is there any chance that we could have our 27th of October meeting on the 3rd of November?
27th of October, is that the next week meeting?
Yes.
Next fortnight.
Yeah, what I've said, as far as the chair's side, I believe we should have it on that meeting day. I've asked that if there is items that councillors, or they want times that suit because some are at a conference, I'm happy to accommodate that, and we can adjourn the meeting if there is times that, or items that they would like dealt with. I think that's the best way to do that.
So is there some agenda items I could ask that could be deferred until the 3rd of November?
Well, I would have to get advice on that, and if you write to me, we can get advice on that, but I believe that we have fairly full agendas, and I believe they need to be dealt with on the...
There's some things on the agenda, though, that I believe everybody should be in the room for, and just because we're sending 2 councillors to Mackay on behalf of Maranoa Regional Council, and then they don't get to vote.
Well, that's not true.
Yes,
It's been very... the state government allows you attending via phone, so there's no...
They'll be in a meeting.
No.
They'll be in a conference.
Councillor Taylor, that's what I just said. I said, if the councillors that will not be here would like to be involved at certain times or items, and, you know, we've all missed meetings at different times with items because we've had other things to do, but if there's certain items that you believe is crucial for them to be involved, we can make times for a council meeting or stay later to make sure that all councillors are involved with that.
So if I want to ask for some agenda items to go to another meeting, it's you I have to ask. I don't have to ask all our councillors?
We would have to get advice on whether we have to have a decision at council.
Nobody's ever asked this question before?
No, I don't. It's never been asked to me. Whereas,
Could you give me some direction on that, by any chance?
My understanding is once it's in the agenda, it becomes a matter for council to decide whether it holds over.
any decisions would have to be made on the 27th to lay them on the
Just having a
table.
look at the standing orders policy.
I'd also like to, I was representing council twice, I think, last term, and the meeting went ahead without me.
I'm not saying it doesn't have to go ahead. If you don't want to change it, that's fine. But there are some items on that agenda that I believe full council should be involved in.
So, councillor Taylor, I've said multiple times that I agree with that. And if we work out the items, and I said this last week in Yuleba, then we can say what time, either before the, or in intermission breaks or at lunchtime or after, then the councils, all councillors can be involved, which means that this is what I'm putting forward, is that the majority of councillors will make available so everyone can be involved for those obviously important items that you would like everyone involved for. So I'm not disagreeing with that, but they can do that by dialing in over the phone. It's happened for all different meetings, and that can happen.
The only difference with, on this particular day of the conference, it is the voting day. It's the day that's taken to do all of the resolutions, which you've tasked us to go and represent council. If it was the Tuesday, you could do what you're suggesting, but the Wednesday, you can't be in two places at once, and you can't be executing votes in both places. And so it's going to be a real challenge to accommodate how you've suggested. My view would be there is a couple that I would like to be involved in, if they could be simply delayed until the next meeting, and that guarantees that, councillors are here.
Yeah, so I would rather not do that, but I would rather to delay them or have them on the time of day when you don't have other commitments, so we can do
But that's my point, Mayor. If it was the Tuesday, you've got flexibility. The Wednesday, it is a full day of resolutions.
But don't they have lunch? Don't they have...
Council has lunch too, so...
Yeah, but we do, and we've also done things in lunchtime as well, so it might be. But I think it's very important for the items that councillor Taylor or any councillor brings up, that I believe they should be, we would make time to deal with those when councillor is available.
So I'm dialing in on that meeting as well, because I'll be in Brisbane. So if I ask to lay it on the table, so will that be considered?
Oh, everything that you move will be considered. It depends whether it gets up or not. But what I'm saying is, if there is some items that councillors would like to be involved with, there is a way. We had a meeting today, and our meeting, we can adjourn it and say, right, they don't finish till 5, now we'll do those items, right? There's no problem why it can't be on that day.
Mayor, can I ask councillor Taylor what item she's thinking of so that I can raise which ones I'm thinking of too?
I've got 13.5, which is application for community grants round 1, because I know councillor Hancock was involved in that, so I would like to hear her opinion on it. And there's C3, which is a request for rates recategorisation, which I think is very important. C9, which is the rating review, and C16, which is the Chief Executive Officer annual leave.
Right, so there's 4 items that you've
I've got
requested.
one other.
Yes.
And this is going to be the big one. And I wouldn't ask this if I was just simply taking leave, but I'm not. I'm representing council. And that's C1, the 2021-22 Q1 budget review.
C1, yep. Councillor Hancock, do you have any that you know about at the moment?
And mine are in, I didn't say, but the ones that Wendy has raised, I had them on my list as well.
Yep, sure.
So I just had the 13.5, which was the community grants, and the C1, C8, C9 and C16.
C8, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, we
so
could
that's
nearly
1,
come in on
2,
Tuesday morning, Mayor Golder.
Well,
I don't mind.
No.
Jeff will be in
Jeff will
meetings
be at
on
the
the
conference
Tuesday.
as well.
Is that right, Jeff?
that means that,
You'll be in the meetings on Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes.
Yes.
And you'll be dialing in Tuesday too,
I can dial in anytime.
yeah.
so what I would be, depending on whether we have to vote on it, and that's fine, but what I'd be saying is those 6 items would be dealt with when it's outside your schedule on that day. Whether we do it early or we do it late, and we get them done, and then work on the rest of the agenda. Okay, any further
So no
business?
scope to deferring it for a week?
If it's my decision as chairman, no, I wouldn't do that, but,
Could it just be those items that you've written down for a week? Do it before a briefing
doing that, I
day?
think we need to deal with them on the day, but if it depends, if it's a council decision, we'll have to vote on it.
Sorry,
Yeah, if it's already in the agenda, you'll need to vote on it. It's
On the day.
Go vote, yeah, one way or the other.
to lay it on the table until a future meeting.
Yep.
I just am flagging, councillor, the operational plan review, probably won't be finished in time. We put it in as a placeholder, so that one will have to go to the next meeting anyway.
Which one was that, number?
C8.
C8.
So
The numbers again,
that one will need to be.
No,
item, agenda numbers?
I think what the CEO's saying, what Councillor Ladbrook said was, whatever numbers we've got, can't vote on, you've got to vote on the date, lay on the table, because it's on the agenda.
So, you know that, but what?
So the
agenda
numbers are 13.5, C8 is not going to be apparently ready, as far as I understand. C3, C9, C16 and C1. Okay, any further business, councillors?
Have we finished these again?
Well, is there any other,
Don't want to come back again for this one,
no,
not this meeting.
A third
Sorry.
attempt at-
councillors, before we close, I'd like to bring up to
We've
move,
sorry, Mr Mayor, we've definitely finished everything here.
well, has anybody else got anything that we haven't done?
I think it's all
It's a
done.
bit hard to keep up with today.
So I would like to move that, that an item be put on the agenda in regards to requesting legal advice. So I'd like to move that be put on the agenda. Do we have a seconder?
Legal advice for what, sorry?
To request legal advice for the mayor. I'll read out the motion. So it'll be for the mayor to request relevant legal advice. And then we'll test the motion and all of that. This is actually just moving to get it on the motion, on the council agenda.
So the agenda item is mayor to get legal advice.
Yeah, correct. So we have a seconder in councillor Edwards.
But how do we not, we need to know, if you're going to read out later, can't you tell us now so that we know
I
whether
can,
we actually
yeah.
want to
I'll read what the motion will be. That council authorise the mayor to request relevant legal advice through Hopwood Gammon following recent receipt of quote regarding the former motion resolution OM/06.2021/02, and it was circulated to you today, I think, the quotation that came through. So that's what it's about. So is the seconder happy? That came through today. It would have come from the office of the mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Which one was it today?
What, do we have a time to?
228, office of the mayor.
228?
228.
Okay, so we have a seconder. This is just putting on the agenda and then we'll do the actual motion and test that. Okay, does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Oh, no, Mr Mayor, I didn't vote.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All those in favour? All those against? 8-1 if I can call for a division. Thank you.
Just to put it on the agenda.
Just on the agenda. So I move that council authorise the mayor to request relevant legal advice through Hopwood Gammon following recent receipt of quote regarding the former motion resolution OM/06.2021/02. So do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
Just a question.
Yes.
Mr Mayor, I've just noticed a pattern that it's only that one law firm all the time that you're requesting your legal advice from. Why is that, when council normally uses a variety of different law firms?
I believe that I've been very happy with the advice that they give, and that's the reason that I believe to use them off the panel of providers. Okay, so I've moved a motion, we've got a seconder.
I just have a question too.
Please, go ahead.
So are you allowed to tell us that what it's in relation to?
That resolution,
Yeah. Can you tell me what the
resolution number,
Yeah.
did you get some detail what it's about?
Well, I did, but I didn't actually get the resolution.
Right, we can get a copy. Have we got a copy of that resolution? Yeah, we'd be able to share it with the councillors.
This is to do with.
One that closed.
Yeah,
The one
so,
that's
Closed.
I know, yeah.
but we can share the resolution. So everyone has what it's about.
We're getting what resolution?
Well, that's the resolution number is OM/06.2021/02 dot. Is it? Full stop. Righto.
This is the right one here, I can't say what I want to say, because we don't.
We're in open, yeah,
I know we're in open.
that's it.
Did you get a chance to find it?
You could just adjourn.
We're going to just adjourn for a minute. We'll adjourn for a minute. So I'm going to have to change the motion a bit because it had the wrong number. I'll move, we're back on, that council authorise the mayor to request relevant legal advice through Hopwood Gammon following recent receipt of quote regarding the former motion resolution OM/06.2021/27. Okay, is the seconder happy with that motion as the seconder?
Wait a minute, just,
It was regarding the former motion.
Or former resolution? I'm happy with that.
that was on the ordinary meeting, June.
Yeah, so that 27 is the change, basically. Is the seconder happy with that?
Yes.
Righto. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 6-3 if I can call for a division. Okay, any further business, councillors? I'll close the meeting at 4:38 PM and thank you for your attendance.